I wanted to do a quick video for those of you who might have bought Affinity 2 versus the original Affinity, because all of my videos have been made using the original Affinity, but things moved around a bit in Affinity 2. So first off, to tell which version you have, they have slightly different icons. So this is the original Affinity. This is Affinity Publisher 2. See how it's a bit darker and it has a stronger border around it. Also, when you launch them, this is the startup screen for Affinity Publisher, the original version. And this is the startup screen for Affinity Publisher 2, the updated version. Another difference you're going to notice between the two programs is that they have changed the appearance of the tool icons here along the left-hand side. So let me push these closer together. The original Affinity, that's the left-hand side of icons. You'll notice that they were using serifed fonts. The new version, they're using sans serif fonts, but everything's in the same location. So you still have Move Tool first, Frame Text Tool up towards the top, Artistic Text Tool just below that, Rectangle Tool a little below that, and then the Place Image Tool a little below that. So there's some slight variations there, but nothing too significant. If you know where to look, they're still basically in the same locations. The next big change is they moved the studio and studio panels information. So it used to be under View. You would go View, Studio, and you could see all the components you could add to a studio. I called these studios in my original videos. These are actually panels that make up a studio. But you can see how I kind of had that confusion because it was under Studio. They fixed that in 2.0, but they also moved it. So all your studio information is now under Window. And you still have Studio and a Studio drop-down menu for adding your presets or choosing a preset. But the panels are actually now listed in the main drop-down menu. And note that there are 3 categories: references, text, and table, that have secondary drop-down menus that show more of the panels. Since a lot of my panels are in those secondary drop-down menus, it was an important thing for me to notice. So here, character, paragraph, and text styles, for example, are in the text dropdown. And fields, index, and table of contents are in the references dropdown. The other one that they moved here is the resource manager. That's where you could go and you could see all of the DPIs for all of the images in your document, and also where you could choose an image and replace it without having to have a specific tool selected. So that is now under Window Resource Manager. Before, it was under Document Resource Manager. Another visible change is if you do File, New. This is the old New Document dialog box. And the way it was arranged was you had your preset categories up top, and all that would show underneath that were the presets for that category. In 2.0, they're all listed in one long list, and you can use a drop-down menu to go to the category you want to use. But they're all there with the scroll bar. 2.0 also has a preview screen, so you can see what it's going to look like. And then the components of your preset layout, pages, color, margins, and bleed are in tabs below that. Whereas in 1.0, or the original, they were in categories listed down the side here with no preview. I will note that on my other computer, I had Affinity bring in all my presets from 1.0 into 2.0, and it reversed all of the settings for height and width. So if I had a 5.25 by 8-inch document, it came in as 8 by 5.25. So you may not want to bring in your presets, or if you do, you may need to adjust that. If you choose to change a preset, so here I'm going to make that 3 by 8, you're going to get a little star by the name. If you want to update that preset, so for example, those ones where it swapped my measurements, I could just update. That's going to save over the existing preset. Or if you want to create a new preset, use this plus sign, save preset as, and add a new name, category, and icon. You also won't have these custom categories by default, but you can come here and choose create category and type a name OK to create that category. If you do that after you added a new preset and you want to move that preset, just drag it down. That's all you have to do. Left click and drag. So that's a big change in that appearance, but it's the same stuff. It's just in different places. Same with the export option, which is the other big one I noticed. This is the old export settings dialog box from 1.0, and you had your file types along the top. The new one, you have your file types in a drop-down menu. And so here, let me choose PDF and PDF. So before you would have your presets that were available. And then if you wanted to do any more advanced settings, you'd click on this More option, and it would bring up an export settings dialog box. Now, the More is actually under Advanced, and it's visible straight out the bat. And it will generate a preview for you eventually. You don't have to wait for that. You can go ahead and export if you're fine with your settings before that eventually generates. And those are basically the main changes I noticed. I do now get a pre-flight warning. Yeah, let's close that. For my black and white files, document color profile not suitable for PDFX, when I have a document set to grayscale, but it still seems to generate okay, so I've still continued to do it that way. The other fun new tool they introduced with 2.0 is this style picker tool. So if you come here, under color picker, click on the white arrow, you'll have style picker tool. If you click on that, you can select text. When it's angled to the right, that's when you select. And then you can go to another text selection and click on it, and it will apply that formatting. And you can use escape to select again and then click. So once it's angled to the left, you can just click and apply that selected style. Escape to angle it back to the right. And that's when you choose a style, and then you can apply again. It applies at either the word level, or if you do a selection, it's going to apply letter by letter. And it's not limited to text. That's just how I've used it. You can also use it, for example, to apply a border around an image. If you had an image with a border, you can select that one and then go to the next image and do the same. So something to play around with. I sometimes don't want to apply text styles to text, but I just want to be like, look, let me take the text style from here and put it here. So that finally lets you do that. And those are the big changes I've found. Just a little bit of things moved around that's somewhat annoying, but they're still there. You just have to find them. So I hope that helped. The mechanics of what you do really haven't changed. It's just where things might be located in specific instances. And what I just showed you were the ones that I noticed. All right. Thanks, guys.